Alright guys, today we're in section 1.2, Powers and Exponents. We're in our textbook on page 10, Powers and Exponents. Here is the, I would say kind of in a nutshell what our lesson is about. Powers and exponents have to do with repeated multiplication. So here's some terms that you need to know. A power results from repeated multiplication of the same number. The base is the number being multiplied, and the exponent tells us how many times. So if I have the number 2 to the third power, does that mean 2 times 3? Or does that mean 2 times 2 times 2? Okay, yes, obviously it's option 2. Sorry, I gotta unfreeze the screen. Oop, there we go. There. Okay, so it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2. All right, so anytime a number is written as a power, I'm multiplying that number by itself, okay, not necessarily by the number in the power. So the exponent tells me how many times to multiply it. Go ahead and just write down these terms and definitions, and then we'll move into the examples. Okay, so in example 1, all right, we are writing these, we are writing the product as a power. Did I say anything about solving? Okay, no, I didn't. So we're not evaluating these, we're just writing it as a power. All right, so I've got, on A, I have, looks like 13 being repeatedly multiplied, so it's going to be 13 to the what? To the fourth power. Now, on B, I see the multiplication written using parentheses. That's fine. How many times is 2/10 being multiplied by itself? To the fifth power. Okay? And the same thing would go with variables. How many times is n being multiplied by itself? Do I have a value for n? No. So that's it. Just n to the sixth power because I don't know what n equals. And then what about x? X to the third power. Now there's a couple of general rules that I want you to know, okay? Now let's talk about the first one for a second. 0. What's 0 times 0? Does it matter how many times I multiply 0 by itself? It's always going to be what? 0. Okay, I can multiply it by itself 100 times and it's still going to be 0. So 0 to the third power, sixth power, seventh power. All right, each answer is 0. So what conclusion can I draw? All right, what rule? 0. Okay, 0 raised to any power is going to be what? 0. 0 raised to any power is 0. Okay, I had to kind of squish that in. All right, now what about a number raised to the power of 0? Maybe test it out in your calculator. What's 1 raised to the power of 0? 5 raised to the power of 0? What's it going to be? What are those answers? Nope, it's not 0.
1 or whatever it is.
Okay, so any number, the answer is always going to be 1. So any number raised to the power of 0 raised to the power of 0 is 1. So I can write a rule about it because it applies 100% of the time is 1. Okay, so that's my rule. Any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. Okay, so I want you to look on the bottom of page 10. I want you to do your turn now, numbers 1 through 4. Your turn now, numbers 1 through 4. I'm sorry, not your turn now, the checkpoint. It's called your turn now in my other class. Okay, so checkpoint on the bottom of page 10, numbers 1 through 4. Okay? All right, does it say anything about evaluating? No. So we're doing what we just did in example 1. You're just writing it as an exponent. You're not solving anything. All you're doing is writing it as an exponent. Okay, what's number 1? Everybody together. 10 to the third power. What's number 2?
4
to the second power. What's number 3? X to the fourth power. And number 4, the answer is always 0. So 0 raised to any power is always 0. Very good. Let's look at example 2. Now in example 2, what's it telling us to do now? What's this word? To evaluate. So now we are answering or solving these powers. We're going to substitute the value for the variable and solve. Sound familiar? It's what you did last night for your homework, except now you're just evaluating the exponents. So we've got x to the fourth. What's my value for x? 0.5 or 5/10 to the fourth power. Get out your calculators. Calculators. Yes, they're allowed. Okay? I want everybody to enter 0.5 or 5/10 into your calculator. 5/10. Okay? Underneath the circular button. Everybody look up here for a sec. Underneath the circular button, do you see the X with the shaded square? Do you see the X with the shaded square button? Hit that button. X with the shaded in square, the blank square. Okay? Right underneath, I'm pointing to it. Right underneath that circle button. All right, so that button will raise that number to a power. Now you're going to enter the power that you're raising it to. What power? The fourth. So punch in a 4. And now you're raising 5/10 to the fourth power. Press equals. Okay? Now, it's going to give you the answer as a fraction. I don't want the fraction. I want the decimal. So this button above the delete, the S to D button, above the delete button, you hit that. And it goes to decimal. Okay? All right, and what's my decimal value? 0.0625, and that's my answer. All right, guys, let's go these in order. Okay, so 3 squared is 9. 3 to the third is 27. 3 to the fourth is 81, and 3 to the fifth 243. Okay, so evaluating is actually solving. Do you see the difference between examples 1 and 2? In example 1, we're just writing it as a power. We're not solving anything. Example 2, we're solving. Now in example 3, we're using formulas. Okay, look at page 11, right there in the middle of page 11. Do you see the 2 formulas? You need to know them, okay? Now, area of a square is what? What's my formula for area of a square? A equals S squared. Okay, yes, that is essentially S times S, but we're going to say S squared because we're learning powers today. What about volume? V equals S to the third. So we're going to make our substitutions and solve. That should sound familiar. Okay, so we're just using our formula. We're making a substitution and we're solving. So in example 3, it asks us to find what? Area or volume? What is it asking us to find? Find the volume. So V equals S to the third. And what is my side value?
20 inches.
So 20 to the third. And 20 to the third is 8,000 inches cubed. And we have to cube our answer because we found volume. All right, so all we did here in example 3 was we used the formula, we plugged in the numbers, and we solved. All right, any questions? Any questions on using these formulas? Okay, so now I want you to do numbers 9, 10, and 11 on the bottom of page 11. Okay, checkpoint. What does it say? It says find the what?
Area.
Find the area, so what formula are you going to use? A equals S squared. So that's your first step. Write your formula on each problem. Show your substitution and then box your answer. If you have a problem like this on your homework tonight, that's what you need to do. Formula, substitution, boxed answer. All right, so number 9, what's my formula? A equals S squared. Okay, what's my value for S? 9 squared. And my area is?
81 meters squared.
81 meters squared. All right, number 10. Start off with my formula. You see a pattern here, guys? We always start with either the original problem from the question or the formula. A equals S squared, A equals 11 squared, and A equals 121 inches squared. All right, and then last problem, number 11, starting with the formula, A equals 1.5 squared, and A equals 2.25 centimeters squared. All right, so using powers, okay, writing products as powers and evaluating powers, that was our lesson for today. You understand that? That's everything you need to know for 1.2.